Playoff racing is here, we all know that. But what about next generation playoff racing? One where there is no definitive championship favorite. One where chaos is the law of the land, and one where the best of the best may or may not be in it because winning is absolutely everything. NRF Productions proudly presents the Spotter's Guide, predicting the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs. All the talk regarding driver Chase Elliott entering the regular season was whether he could reassert himself back as that guy at Hendrick. Coming off a season where the reins of the organization were yanked from his hands by Kyle Larson, taking the momentum Chase had at the end of 2020 and running with it, winning 10 races, with Chase mostly playing the second fiddle in the corner. All of a sudden, the 2020 champion was seen as a Mickey driver who was to Kyle Larson as Dale Jr. was to Jimmy Johnson. So how did he, Alan Gustafson, and the 9 team respond? Being the most consistent driver all year, winning 4 races and arguably the most meaningful regular season championship since this car has a lot of unknowns about it. A testament not only to this number 9 team, but Alan Gustafson as well, as this has been one of his better seasons as a crew chief by showing his strengths and also shedding some past demons. All that remains to make this season historic is to extend the championship 4 streak and win that second championship to put him in exclusive company in modern day NASCAR. It's a bit odd to see Joey Logano as that second seed, and this is coming from a guy that predicted him to dominate this season. When you look back at what is visible from the surface level, you've got the 2 wins, Darlington and Gateway. You've also got his Ryan Newman style of aggressiveness that has added a new slew of rivals to the double deuces list. Then you've also got the stuff that has been ignored. His worst average finish since 2017. Should Logano struggle in these playoffs, he could end the season with his lowest top 10 count since joining Penske all the way back in 2013. Still, this is a driver that has been historically made from moments. It doesn't matter how you get here. It matters what you do while you're here. That's why you do not count out the 2018 NASCAR Cup Series champion and a crew chief that has been to this dance before, especially in a season of unknowns. Ross Chastain is a driver that races true to his roots. As a blue-collar watermelon farmer, he had to work for everything he has gotten in life and also in NASCAR. A top-tier ride at Trackhouse Racing and 2 NASCAR Cup Series wins to his name. But with all successful members of the craft, you're gonna have a few complaints from the mayor, respected drivers like Jeff Burton, as well as champions Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, and Denny Hamlin. Okay, not so much Denny Hamlin, but regardless, all of those drivers have called out some of the instances where he has gone to great lengths to get the job done. As much as this has paid off for him and how he should not abandon his roots, he shares real estate with 35 other drivers every week. Now 15 of them have serious championship ambitions. Should he use his blue-collar craft wisely, he will reach the ultimate prize of being Rancher of the Year. If not, his fellow farmers will use lessons learned from Master Kenseth to put him in his place. In February, everyone had the demon on wheels. Kyle Larson to dominate like in 2021 and like his cartoon counterpart Speed Racer. The HendrickCars.com Camaro hasn't exactly been the Mach 5 in 2022 despite 2 wins, both at the expense of his teammate Chase Elliott. Kyle Larson hasn't lost sight of his roots since winning that 2021 NASCAR Cup Series championship, and that skill, that ability to race guys hard and make the most out of even the races where he is not mentally at his best. And because of that, it gives Kyle Larson a huge advantage, and because of that, he has a damn good chance to end this debate 5/9 any day by beating Chase Elliott in a season where he hasn't been at his best. He hasn't been on the level of Chase Elliott. Doing so would reassert the 5 team and Cliff Daniels as that top dog at Hendrick Motorsports, and they would go back-to-back for the first time since some guy named Jimmy Johnson won 5 championships in a row. William Byron entered 2022 as that guy that was going to succeed Chase Elliott in 2020 and Kyle Larson in 2021 as drivers to win their first championships and keep the Hendrick dominance going. Get rid of the 2 wins and the incredible amount of laps led, William Byron would be one of the most disappointing drivers of this season. He's tied for 22nd in top 10 finishes, vastly lower than non-playoff drivers such as Eric Jones, Michael McDowell, Chris Buescher, Eric Almirola, and Bubba Wallace. Just for whatever reason, this 24 team has not had that consistent speed that they had in 2021, leading them to get mired in the hornet's nest and into trouble many times, many ways. I mean, you just think about it. Every time you see William Byron, he's running mid-pack. It usually results in him getting wrecked or into mechanical issues like at Nashville, like at Atlanta, Indianapolis, and of course Daytona. Daytona last weekend. Rudy Fugle and the 24 team, they have time to turn this around, but they have to be Raptor tough like they were the last time the NASCAR Cup Series came to Darlington, and nothing like they've been throughout this entire summer. It's been a Jekyll Hyde type of season for Denny Hamlin, as one week he's crossing off the Coca-Cola 600 off his NASCAR bucket list. The next week he's intimidating Ross Chastain, or there's one week where he gets back at Ross Chastain, wins the race, and then gets a dilly bar from NASCAR. Much like William Byron and the 24 team, consistency has not been in the 11 teams dictionary since their wins, except at least in this case, Denny Hamlin openly acknowledged that they were not going to start being consistent. They were going to go for broke, go for wins, and go for playoff points. After all, you win a race and pretty much nothing matters until September. Just maybe this is the monster that can rattle the competition and finally, and I mean finally, get Denny Hamlin that one trophy that has eluded his NASCAR Cup Series career. Or he'll turn off the Xbox and go to sleep like he has the last few years. Brian Blaney Nation and Austin Dillon, just like the number 3 gives them PTSD like Dale Earnhardt did to his competitors, if NASCAR decided to call the race and head back down to the beach when the storm cleared, just have a nice relaxing day, Brian Blaney would have been on the outside looking in, and he would have ended up missing the playoffs. Instead, the third most consistent driver enters as the 7th seed and will race for the Drivers' Championship only. Keep in mind, with the 3-car winning, it eliminated the 12-car from that championship. So in that case, the PTSD will be rekindled in November for Ryan Blaney if he does win the title and has to share the stage with a team from Hendrick or Joe Gibbs. Despite a goose egg in the wins column, Ryan Blaney has a second life, with Kurt Busch sitting out with his concussion symptoms and has the results to make a case for Phoenix. Could this be a Tony Stewart 2011 type run for the ages? Or will this 12 team and Jonathan Hassler continue giving their devoted fan base flashbacks to the most traumatizing event in their lives, the 2021 Hollywood Casino 400? Tyler Reddick has faced a lot of adversity this season, which has led to him growing and developing his craft into ways deemed impossible for RCR standards. Beating Chase Elliott straight up to win Road America for his first ever win and surviving the crapshoot known as the Indianapolis Road Course with a 90-degree turn 1 of chaos. The A-Team has been through the pressure cooker not just on the track but off it when Reddick basically told the team nothing matters. I'm going to 2311 racing in 2024 and abandoning all our progress to race for Michael Jordan. Still, the team itself has Randall Burnett to keep things cool and focused on the big picture, a NASCAR Cup Series championship. Tracks like the Charlotte Roval and Homestead paves a clear path for the championship should this 8-team continue that big picture mentality. He was down bad in the spring and summer, being over a race out of a playoff spot, but even amidst a 65 race winless streak, you do not count Kevin Harvick, Rodney Childers, and this 4-team out. Michigan was vintage Kevin Harvick, the days where he was just out for a Sunday drive in the Motor City. Richmond was the same, just in the sense that he was the guy that closed out the race in the happiest way possible. Kevin Harvick has steadily climbed the NASCAR Cup Series standings to a respectable 9th place, about where he was in 2021, only this time with a larger wave of momentum like we've seen in 2014, 2017, 2018, 2019, and of course 2020 when he lit the world on fire before choking in the round of 8. Kevin Harvick should easily get past round 1, though round 2 will be tricky when you look at Talladega and the Roval. They're 2 wildcard races that could throw a wedge in the momentum. Avoiding heartbreak of yesteryear is key to moving towards another thing of yesteryear, the taste of the Cup Series Championship trophy and the return to the big race. The guy that finished second to Harvick, charging him down and needed this to be the Federated Auto Parts 401, was Christopher Bell, who has been quietly one of the better drivers down the stretch. Since Talladega, Christopher Bell has the 2nd highest average finish and is tied with Chase Elliott for most top 10s. A guy he had to straight up beat to get here, conserving his stuff where the 2020 champion did not, and New Hampshire would end up being the race that Christopher Bell would lock himself into these 2022 playoffs. He has that in his toolkit along with Adam Stevens, the guy that has wielded great magic in making Kyle Busch the driver he is today. Christopher Bell might honestly be the most overlooked driver in these entire playoffs. Heck, he might even be Toyota's favorite with the elimination of stage winner MTJ. Speaking of Kyle Busch, he still doesn't know what owner is going to pay his salary for the 2023 season. Just one aspect of the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad year. Kyle Busch has been distracted by a lot of outside issues, which led to the longest top 10 drought of his entire career, Over the past 4 months, KFB has been running about where Chris Buescher and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. have based on his average finish of an un-Kyle Busch-like 18.3. Some things such as Ben Bayshore having Kyle Busch pit when all the other Toyotas stayed out at Michigan for track position attributed to that total. I know this is a 2-time champion. I know this is a 60-time winner in the Cup Series and a generational talent. Unfortunately, this 2022 season has seen even the best of the best get distracted by the unpredictability of life. Heck, if we're in a world where Checkers or Wreckers doesn't take out Tyler Reddick, Kyle Busch is still winless this season, and he would have missed the playoffs for the first time since 2012. Crazy times, which I do not expect to get any less crazy. The driver Kyle Busch should be thanking for his aggressiveness at Bristol Dirt is Checkers or Wreckers Chase Briscoe, someone that isn't afraid to go all in, to go for it like his idol and fellow Hoosier Tony Stewart. There are days where it doesn't pay off, Bristol Dirt and the Coca-Cola 600 most notably. But when he gets the most out of his Ford Mustang like a farmer would out of a Mahindra tractor, you get moments like Phoenix. Oh yeah, that just so happens to be where the championship race is at this year. If Chase Briscoe can get there, Stewart-Haas Racing and this number 14 team are contenders for sure. That's if Johnny Klausmeier can get past some of the struggles in the second half of the regular season that has hindered their performance and Chase Briscoe's growth in his second season as a NASCAR Cup Series driver. Imagine placing a bet after the 2020 Gatorade Duels that in 2 years Daniel Suarez would make the playoffs while both of his replacements Martin Truex Jr. in the 19 and Cole Custer in the 41 would miss out. The people that laughed at you then would have a loss for words as you pull up in your brand new Rolls Royce. Daniel Suarez finally shed the demons of being a NASCAR Cup Series bust with his breakthrough win at Sonoma. While yes, he has not been on the level of Ross Chastain this season. At times you even wonder if these really are both entries from Trackhouse. Over the past 15 races, Daniel Suarez has been on par with Ross Chastain, nearly identical in every stat category besides top 10s, where Chastain has the advantage and wins, where that advantage goes to Suarez. It's honestly good to see Daniel Suarez finally able to make a name for himself, and honestly I expect that to continue in these next 10 weeks. Rounding out the 5, count 'em up 5 new winners in the NASCAR Cup Series this season is Austin Cindric. His win being the first and the most monumental by winning the Daytona 500 in his first start as a full-time Cup driver. Doing so at the expense of teammate Ryan Blaney, leading both the 2 and the 12 on completely different trajectories when approaching this 2022 season. Austin Cindric could afford the struggle and learn the NASCAR Cup Series ropes as a rookie driver, not needing to stress about the point situation to make it into the postseason. Perhaps this was the best thing to happen for both the 12 and the number 2. Austin Cindric has made strides in the second half of the regular season, a streak of top 10 finishes as well as 10 top 15 finishes in the last 12 races. Austin Cindric is having himself an underrated rookie season. It's getting overlooked by a lot of people in this industry, and that might change finally when he gets that recognition when he has a surprising Cup playoff debut. Hard to believe that Alex Bowman is a 15th seed, especially after his hot start this year. He got the win early on in the season at Las Vegas, so as a Hendrick driver, he knew his playoff fate instantly. What he didn't know was the trajectory of his season. Through the spring and early summer, Alex Bowman was honestly one of the most improved drivers of the season. 180 in performance-esque, sitting as high as 5th in points after the Dover race. Since then, he's been a good teammate to Chase Elliott, see Atlanta, but also one of the coldest playoff drivers. Just one top 5 in June, July, and August. Not the ideal performance from a 48 team led by Greg Ives, who announced that this will be his swan song as a crew chief. And for anyone criticizing this guy, keep in mind, without Las Vegas, Alex Bowman isn't even in this video. This team right here has a lot of work to do if they want to send off one of NASCAR's most underappreciated crew chiefs with the championship. Thanks to NASCAR once again misjudging the weather and a clutch effort from Tyler Reddick to use lessons from a driver of the number 8 before him to work through the pack, Austin Dillon is the 16th and final driver in the 2022 postseason. Richard Childress Racing has all their cars in the playoffs for the first time since 2010. They have done their homework to get out of the winless trap that they were in before, and now the fun begins for Austin Dillon and Justin Alexander. The last time they were here, Austin Dillon was overlooked and could have easily made the round of 8 had he not had issues at Las Vegas. Maybe the 3 team isn't as good as they were in 2020, but they are willing to take risks and push the edge. It's what got them here, and if they can make the most of it, you never know. Maybe this really is the year Austin Dillon progresses into a championship contender. The Rock RCR desperately needs with the upcoming departure of Tyler Reddick, as after all, when you look at stats, he's not too far off from Tyler Reddick, and he has the same amount of highest finishes at RCR as Reddick. He has an uphill battle to make it to the next round, but I would not count this number 3 team out, especially with the momentum. 2022 sees a bit of a shuffling in the 10-race journey to become champion. Kansas moves up to the second race in the round of 16 to replace Richmond. Darlington and Bristol reprise their roles as race 1 and race 3. The round of 12 begins with a fan favorite Texas Motor Speedway and ends with chaos, Talladega as well as the Charlotte Roval. Round 3, the Eliminator 8, features Las Vegas as well as the first trip to Homestead, Miami in this 2022 campaign. Martinsville, even with all its controversies with the next generation car, remains the cutoff race before Phoenix yet again and will be the race to crown the best of the best NASCAR Cup Series stock car driver of 2022. So how do I see this next generation postseason playing out? In the round of 16, there are some big names that are going home. In fact, 4 of the elite car numbers in NASCAR history. The 3, 18, 24, and the 48 have just not been consistent enough to be seen as contenders. As for the round of 12, it will be Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe, Daniel Suarez, and Kevin Harvick. Yes, Hot Streak Kevin Harvick narrowly missing the round of 8. Chaos is the name of the game, and for Kevin Harvick, Talladega and the Roval will be too much to overcome. As for the round of 8, I see Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, and Joey Logano coming up short, paving the way for Ross Chastain, who is going to win his way through Las Vegas, Kyle Larson winning his way through Homestead, Chase Elliott making it on points, and Ryan Blaney. Yes, the guy that has yet to win a race is going to squeak into the championship 4 on points. YRB has been given a second life, and I think this is finally going to be the year where he's going to go on a Tony Stewart 2011 run in these predictions. Quite possibly he could pull a Daniel Hemrick and win the entire championship, which is why in reality Austin Dillon will probably give this fan base even more PTSD with a round of 16 elimination. So anyways, this is Nathan for NRF Productions signing out, and just remember guys and gals, life's a beach and then you drive.